As it often does in Colorado, it just depends on where you are as far as the weather today. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us at 4 o'clock. I'm Tom Green.
And I'm Kim Christensen. We are keeping an eye on the storms. They're moving around the metro area and east of Denver as well. Let's take a look at the radar. All the things came together for this kind of a day. We've been talking about that for a little bit. We got thunderstorms here and there, but I don't understand what any of that means. Kathy does.
Well, she does. We'll get to her in a second. This has impacted travel, of course. A ground delay out at DIA for arriving flights due to the storms. This is the misery map, and if you're feeling good about yourself, always check out the misery map.
Then you feel better.
More than 400 delays today out at our airport. According to the FAA, that ground delay is until 10 o'clock tonight, and that's delaying incoming flights for about an hour.
Okay, Sky9 was only able to fly shortly because of the storms. They can't fly in these kinds of conditions. This is a quick flight. They gave us a view of the dark clouds coming in from the west. Places like Evergreen and Boulder saw some brief downpours. Little bit of hail. This is what it looked like in Evergreen around 1:45 this afternoon. Lynn shared this video. You can see that pea-sized hail coming down.
Let's check in with 9 News Weather Impact Team meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen. He is out by the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds with a look at things out there. Corey, it sounds like the eastern part of the metro area is certainly busier than the metro right now.
Yeah, that's where the main event is for sure. We've been watching these storms come through the metro area fairly weak, a little bit of thunder and lightning, some light rain, but we're dry for at least another 30 minutes here in this part of the southeast metro. But the main event has been out here on the eastern plains, and we've been watching some big, powerful thunderstorms out there about 40 miles to our east. At one point, that storm out there was 55,000 feet high. That's the one that was producing those landspout tornadoes and some pretty big hail out there towards the near the Morgan County area, and that has kind of since started to go down just a little bit. But those storms out there have meant those have stayed pretty impressive. But now we're kind of watching the skies to the south of the metro here, and that'll be the next round of storms that will come through the Denver metro area. All this dark stuff that you see above the just behind the Arapahoe County Fairgrounds here, that is going to be the next wave of storms that will impact us. So places like Castle Rock, Lone Tree, Highlands Ranch, Parker, that's where this stuff is headed. And that is coincidentally also where we are headed to keep an eye on this, as even though that first wave of storms was a little bit on the weaker side, we do have some potential coming up here in just a little while here. And I think Kathy, you've been watching these storms too coming down to the South Metro. I think that might be the next bit of action for us.
Yeah, Corey, you're always so careful out there, and we appreciate your view of these storms, but do be careful. As you and I discussed, these storms have shear and rotation, and 2 possible landspouts today, one near Deer Trail and one near Prospect Valley. So not only that, but hail over 1 inch in diameter. So while you step out in Denver and you see skies like this, like Corey says, may not be out of the woods just yet. You look north, there are gentle showers coming off the foothills, but you look south, it's a different story. And then east, it is a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock for this sliver of the eastern plains, not including Denver at this point. And the storms are kind of tracking from the southwest to the northeast. And where you see the magenta polygons, that's where we're already seeing some flash flooding in some of the county road areas. And that is just to the east of Byers. They've got 2 to 3 inches of rain that has fallen, another inch expected. A couple of severe cells out there by Lyman and north of the Calhan area. And we're really watching this. This storm had rotation in it last hour, and now we've got reports of 1.5 inch diameter hail near the Simla area. Simla is also dealing with some flash flooding, so if you can avoid that area right now, we've got creeks and streams running over those county roads. A new flash flood warning up there east of the Byers area. These storms just aren't moving a whole lot, and that's part of the problem. And there's a bit of a boundary out there, which means we've got winds coming in at one level at a different direction than what's coming in at the lower levels. And so certainly this will be ongoing for a while. Corey mentioned to the south and southwest our next wave coming in, and that is the convection we're watching around Bailey, Conifer, and Evergreen. It will track from the southwest to the northeast. So far for the evening drive getting underway, we're doing okay, but Storm Prediction Center has areas just east of Denver in that outlook for large hail and damaging wind. We'll have another check of the radar, and that's coming up.
In the news this afternoon, a man is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. This following a shooting in Aurora. Police say it all played out at an apartment complex near 12th and Dallas at about 11:30 p.m.
And today we learned that building has a connection to that complex off Colfax and Nome Streets that kicked everyone out and closed because it was uninhabitable. 9 News reporter Janelle Finch is in studio with what residents in that area are facing.
A tenant living here at the edge of Lowry Apartments tells me there's been some sort of violence every week for the last year. He didn't want to go on camera, but he did want to illustrate how dangerous the place he's called home for the last 12 years has become. Aurora police investigations of Sunday night's shooting near 12th and Dallas continued into daytime hours. Light shed on the scene where APD says a man was taken to the hospital with a life-threatening gunshot wound. Morning also revealed more about where the shooting happened. Shots were fired near the edge of Lowry Apartments. The property is listed under CBZ management. Just a week ago, less than 2 miles away, more than 300 families were forced out of CBZ-managed apartments near Colfax and Nome. The city cited mismanagement in a series of code violations, pileups of trash, and security concerns. A tenant at the edge of Lowry says he's seeing similar issues. He says it's been 2 weeks since trash was picked up, and neighborhood violence has increased over the last year. Using the APD transparency portal, 9 News found there were 132 service calls within a 600-foot radius of the apartment since 2019, not including last night's shooting. Those calls included assault, burglary, arson, and theft. According to the portal, 21 incidents have been reported since the start of the year. A spokesperson for the property owner says they don't have a comment at this time. The city says it's been trying to hold CBZ accountable for poor living conditions for the last 2 years. We're still waiting on a response from the city to our specific questions about these apartments, but a spokesperson for the city attorney says trash is set to be picked up this Thursday. In the studio, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
Janelle, it's hard to hear that the city is trying to hold them accountable. You'd like to think that they have some teeth involved in this.
Right, and it seems like it's been a battle, like said, for the last 2 years. All
right, thank you, Janelle. Prosecutors now considering more charges against the former funeral director from Littleton, Miles Harford. He's accused of leaving a woman's body in a hearse for a year and a half. During a court appearance today, prosecutors got a continuance. They did so they could have more time to consider additional charges. Harford owned Apollo Funeral and Cremation Services in Littleton. He's not only accused of leaving the woman's body, but also giving her family someone else's remains. Harford was arrested earlier this year after police said his business closed in September of 22. His arraignment is now rescheduled for October. Well, tonight there will be some big-name Democrats on the stage because the Democratic National Convention is kicking off in Chicago.
Here is a live look at the United Center. They've been getting ready all day, doing, all the checks, microphone checks. James Taylor was doing, practicing, things like that. 9 News anchor Kyle Clark is there. He's somewhere around there. He's going to bring us coverage throughout the week. Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, hope to ride a wave of momentum this week. NBC's Bree Jackson is there as well, talking with delegates about what they want to hear from the Vice President and President Biden, who will be speaking tonight.
The stage is set as the Democratic National Convention gets underway. People from across the country showing their support for the Harris-Walz ticket. I spoke with delegates about the top issues in their states.
Cost of housing, being able to send your kids to school, the cost of food and gas, these basic things.
Workers' rights, to our economy, making sure that we're making the right investments in our economy.
Outside the convention, protesters voicing their opposition to the war in Gaza. The Harris-Walz campaign says they plan to address the issue.
You have a candidate like Kamala Harris that is going to get to the bottom of these challenging issues, be frank with both sides about what is needed to get to a place of reducing civilian casualties and making this terrible and tragic war over.
Much of the focus tonight will be on President Biden.
Senator Sanders, what do you want to hear tonight? What do you want to hear tonight from the president?
Good speech.
The 81-year-old was expected to accept the Democratic Party's nomination, but after nearly a half-century in public office, he's passing the torch.
His legacy is going to be that he saved democracy not once but twice. He saved it once by defeating Donald Trump in 2020, and he saved it once by actually stepping down and allowing Kamala Harris to be our first female president.
Tonight, Democrats will honor Biden's legacy as the party looks toward the future of a Harris-Walz ticket. In Chicago, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
As we mentioned all week, Kyle will be bringing you coverage from the DNC. We'll be talking to Coloradans involved in the Democrats' historic mid-campaign switch to Kamala Harris. You can also watch next 5-part series on Donald Trump's policies right now on 9news.com.
Today, many people are remembering Phil Donahue, a trailblazer in television. He died yesterday at the age of 88. Donahue's family announced that the popular television talk show host died after suffering from a long illness. Donahue certainly ushered in a new wave of television. He was really the first person to consistently interact with his studio audience. And he would certainly take on polarizing topics like war or abortion. His role in the television industry also earned him an induction into the Television Academy Hall of Fame in 1993.
This week, some of the best golfers in the world will be taking over Castle Pines as the FedEx Cup playoffs hit Colorado. It's been a while. Castle Pines is hosting the 2024 BMW Championship, marking the first time the PGA Tour event has been held here since 2006. The International's final year is a regular stop on the tour. Grounds tickets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are now sold out, according to their website. There are still some tickets for Thursday's opening round, but the cheapest ticket, $116.